Hello, this is my interview with Krysten. Krysten is a 46-year-old woman. She's a friend of mine. I'm going to ask her the following questions. What age are you?
I'm 46 years old.
Do you notice any visible signs of aging that have happened at this time in your life?
I have noticed crow's feet on my eyes, lots of gray hair, which I have colored regularly, and saggy boobs.
Do you notice any menopausal symptoms?
I don't have a lot of menopausal symptoms. Part of that is because I had a hysterectomy several years ago. I do notice hormonal changes that cycle just as if I had a period.
What about your sex drive? Is there an increase, decrease?
I have had a decrease in my sex drive.
What about your nutrition? Do you think it's good nutrition? Do you think it could be better?
I am working at eating healthier. I am currently trying to make better food choices. And when I eat better, I do feel better and I feel more energy.
What about exercise?
I have made a concentrated effort in the last 6 months to do a better job of at least walking daily to get some more exercise in so that I feel better.
Okay, so let's talk about your family. Does your family have any heart problems, cancer, hypertension, or diabetes?
My mom had breast cancer several years ago, and she's currently cancer free. My dad suffers from high heart disease and COPD. Diabetes runs in my mom's side of the family. I have an aunt that died of that, also a great grandmother, and my grandma had diabetes very badly.
Since you've entered this stage in your life, have you noticed any cognitive, intellectual decline in how you make decisions, or do you remember things?
I have noticed some short-term memory loss. Things that I don't write down, I tend to forget more. I feel myself being more scatterbrained, where I used to be very organized. I'm not so much anymore.
What about your vocabulary? Do you struggle finding words if you're talking in a sentence or?
I have difficulty when I'm trying to write something out to know what word I need to use. Not so much when I speak, but when I'm doing written communication.
Relationships. Has your relationship changed with your spouse since entering this stage of your life?
My relationship with my spouse is very unique because he works over the road. We are both looking forward to the day, which is only like 2 years away, that I can spend more time with him and be with him on the road when our kids are out of high school and on their own.
So with that being said, with your kids, do you notice a relationship change with them?
I have noticed that my patience don't seem to be as much with them anymore, but I also have noticed that some things that used to bother me, I let go because it's just not worth it. My time with them is short as they're only 2 more years before they're out of my house.
What about coworkers?
I am not very tolerant of people that are lazy or try to take the easy way out. In my profession as a preschool teacher, I need people that compliment me, not people that stand by and watch me do all the work.
Do you think that's changed from when you were, say, 25?
Yes, it's changed dramatically. I used to have the energy and the ability to just do it all. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that you need to share that load. And there's less burnout when you share the load.
And what about your parents? Has your relationship changed with them? Because they're getting older and you're getting older.
My relationship with my parents has changed. They don't live close by, but I do try really hard to spend more time with them, more quality time with them, talk to them on the phone more, because we are both aging. And the reality is, as my parents get older, they may or may not be here very much longer. And as many of my friends have experienced losses of parents, older siblings in the last 6 months to a year, I know that I need to make the most of the time I have with my parents now.
Perfect. And you said you're a preschool teacher. Are you comfortable with that?
I love being a preschool teacher. I have noticed over the years that the roles have changed. The acceptable behavior that was acceptable, 8 years ago, today the standard is very less. Children are allowed more freedoms at a young age. I deal with 4 and 5-year-olds and kids that come to school and they hit. It doesn't bother their parents, where if it was my parents, it would have been a different story.
Do you feel like you need to advance your career or change it? Do you feel like you're too old to advance your career?
I don't. I've changed my career about 10 years ago from what I was doing before. I enjoy what I do. And at this point in my life, I don't want to take on a bigger role because I know in just a few more years, I'm going to be traveling with my husband, and my ability to hold down a job with him moving so much is probably not realistic.
What lifestyle choices have had a strong impact on your health status? Exercise, diet, what habits do you have?
I have found that when I exercise more, with at least 30 to 45 minutes of activity every day, I feel better. When I eat healthier, when I eat a bunch of carbs or junk food, I feel very sluggish. Things I didn't notice as I was younger, but as I'm getting older, the food I put in my mouth has more of an effect on my body.
What about like your habits? Sleeping, waking up? Do you wake up early? Do you stay up late?
I like to be in bed at a fairly decent hour. Typically, I'm in bed by 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Sometimes I don't wake up till 6:30 in the morning. To be honest, as I've aged, it all depends on my bladder.
Perfect. So if you could change any choices from your past, what lifestyle choices would you change?
Knowing what I know now, I wish I would have ate healthier at a younger age. I also wish I would have given my children more fruits and vegetables, particularly fresh vegetables when they were younger, because I've noticed the impact that eating those things have on me now, and my children aren't very fond of them.
And my last question is, do you predict you will have, or do you feel like you have had a midlife crisis?
I do feel I had a midlife crisis, but it came about 10 years ago when I made the decision to give up working in a retail management job that was high stress, lots of hours, lots of time away from my family. I just couldn't handle it. I wanted to be more with my kids. And at that point in time, I stepped back and said I needed to do something completely different. And I went from managing a store to teaching preschool.
Which is pretty stressful.
Oh, it's easy.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.